I hear that you're
Alexander Hamilton.
You love Hamilton.
I love Hamilton very much.
Can you give us a sample of something you know from Hamilton, like one of the songs? What's your favorite one?
My favorite one changes every time I listen to it, but I mean, My Shot is just, you can't ever beat that one, you know? There's some crazy lines. Let me just, Can
you serenade us really quick?
Well, okay. My favorite riff of that whole one is when he goes like, I'm past patiently waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action's an act of creation. I'm laughing in the facial casualties and sorrow. For the first time I'm thinking past tomorrow, and I am not throwing away my shot. And then it goes into like the whole,
Yo!
Oh my gosh!
You know how it goes.
I didn't know
we have a lot
of
we have a lot of rapping talent on
a lot of
rapping
talent.
We have that, and then we all know the excellent work that was done by Reed.
Yeah, Reed.
So, and wait, you were rapping.
He was rapping in the background.
I rapped once about confession.
That's crazy. That is crazy. This brings something to mind. Have you guys heard of the loudness wars?
No.
This is lore. So around, I think it's the 80s or the 90s, there's a sort of revolution in producing in music. I don't remember the specific timeline, but basically they wanted to make music that was more and more and more engaging. And what's one way to get your attention? It's increasing the volume, right? It's cranking up the volume. So what producers were doing was they would just tighten everything up. You guys know like a compressor? You ever use that or anything like that? Well, okay.
No.
Okay, so
I studied buildings.
It takes the highs of something of music. So if it's like really loud, and then the lows if it's really quiet, and it just kind of squashes it together so that they're much more similar levels. So it compresses it. And then what they do is they compress it, and then they would raise the volume, so it's just more sound coming at you, more sound. I don't know if you've ever listened to older music, it gets really quiet sometimes, and then it gets louder, and then quiet, and then louder, and then quiet. So you have like highs, and then you have lows. But the loudness wars changed music entirely, because today it's standard to have really, really loud music all the time. Now, after that, there was some really interesting developments in music where people would start using silence more. I don't know if you guys have listened to the Pixies.
Nope.
Okay, so
I'm completely uncultured.
Who were the Pixies?
There's like a rock band from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 90s. They're so
you're a 90s kid. We're not.
I was a 90s kid. I'm from the 90s, born in 99. So anyway, there was development in this, but that period during the loudness wars is really interesting. And I think it relates to the topic of our episode, which is temperance. Temperance? You were talking earlier, Stephen, about...
Yeah, temperance, it's one of the cardinal virtues, of which there are 4.
All right, name them.
Prudence, justice, temperance, and perseverance.
Perseverance.
Guys, I got no notes. That was, never mind. Fortitude.
It's the same.
Same type of
fortitude, perseverance. People will talk about courage, like these sorts of things. But temperance is a really important virtue because it allows us to not be swayed by things in this world and to be able to have this sort of sobriety so that we can enjoy the good. Okay? So what's lost with the loudness wars, right? A lot of sound is presented to us, but in order to have that engagement, they had to compress everything. They had to make it so the highs were the same as the lows. Everything was presented to you at once. That was a movement away from how it was, where you had a lot more dynamic range, and people were able to enjoy and appreciate the highs and the lows for what they are. So scientists have a name for this phenomenon of sort of putting a ton of information and stimulus in something that just overloads your psyche. I don't know if you guys, like on TikTok, like they'll have like videos where someone is playing literally like Subway Surfers in the background, and then like another person's talking. Like, why is Subway Surfers there?
True.
It's just because you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, that guy just jumped over a bus.
Yeah.
And you keep listening. So
he must be having something good to say.
Yeah. It keeps you super engaged. So this is what scientists call supernormal stimulus. This is one of my favorite words.
Grant likes big words.
Supererogatory from the last episode, and magnanimity, which if you were my small group, you remember I made everyone say that like 5 times. Okay, so
I was not in your small
supernormal stimulus. Supernormal stimulus is best sort of understood with this one example. It's called, this is it. This is the Australian Jewel Beetle episode.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go. Okay, the Australian Jewel Beetle is a beetle. It's been around. It's from Australia. And it has this like sort of jewel amber orange color that's like sort of sparkles in the sun. It's native to Australia, and it's been around for a really, really long time. But scientists noticed, and again, I think it was the 80s. A lot happened in the 80s. The population started falling dramatically. And they're trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, they figured out that these Australians, they would go like riding in the outback, you imagine it, like top down on the Jeep. People are just hanging out. This was before they had drinking and driving laws. And people are throwing out the window into the outback these things called stubbies, which is what Australians call beer bottles, right?
They have weird names for things.
Weird things like
On the Barbie.
Yeah, exactly. Or what are they? Are they the ones who eat Marmite or whatever?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
Yeah.
I don't want Marmite. But anyway, Vegemite. Anyway, so they throw these stubbies out. And the stubbies are beer bottles that had the same like shimmering caramel colored glass, and they would break and they would look kind of like the Jewel Beetles, except the way the sun reflected on it, it was like even shinier and even more jewel colored. So what happened was the Jewel Beetle population absolutely tanked. And it was because the males and the females were no longer interested in each other. They were just interested in the stubby.
The glass.
The glass, right. So this is an example of a supernormal stimulus, because the
Can you say that word again for me?
Supernormal stimulus.
Okay.
The bottle was more attractive to these beetles than the opposite sex. It was just brighter and better, and they lost interest. And you can sort of see this. There's another example where scientists have done experiments where they put like a really large egg that's a fake egg, and it's not from the bird, but they'll put a very large egg in a mother bird's nest, and that it's so large and attractive to the mother bird that she'll sit on that super large egg and let all of the eggs around it die because they get cold. And there's also other things like this. But supernormal stimulus is basically when something man-made, something that's engineered, goes above and beyond what is natural for us. And it can be really exciting. Like, think about it. You go to McDonald's, you get a double quarter pounder. There's like salt in it. It's just
I love
like
McDonald's.
So much fat. Oh, it's so good. I really like to get just like a double cheeseburger and a McFlurry. It's
I'm more of
so
a Big
good.
Mac guy myself,
A Big Mac guy?
to be
Oh, man,
honest.
I can't even.
Don't ever get extra Mac
if you
sauce.
took a Big Mac to like a
Mistake.
Stone Age guy, it would just kill him. Like, you bring that to a king and he like flips out. It's like he makes you his head chef. And he just wants Big Macs. But what happens is if you eat only Big Macs and you eat only McFlurries, which are tastier than other things, it seems, well, one, it's really bad for your health. And two, you lose appreciation for things that are actually better for you. Like you won't, it's like if you only ever eat like chicken dino nuggets and you never try your broccoli. Like, I don't really like dino nuggets, but as a kid, I loved them. Like,
They're
my
the best.
mom pulled them out of the oven and like put it on there, and I just like threw my hand up there. I had to
Burn your hand.
It. Just
Yeah, I was
terrible.
gonna say.
I love chicken dinos, but because my mom made me eat Brussels sprouts, I actually really love Brussels sprouts. They're delicious.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like these foods, like you can appreciate. Yeah, clap on that track. Oh yeah, thank you, Reed.
So your mom helped you exercise the virtue of temperance.
Temperance, exactly. This is the virtue of temperance, where you look at something that you know is good and you appreciate it, and then you also have the capability of recognizing something that's perhaps attractive, like a quarter pounder or a stubby or really, really loud music. And if you don't have the virtue of temperance, you'll choose that and lose your ability to appreciate what's actually good. And when we lose our ability to appreciate what's actually good, we're unable to accomplish what we're made for. It might be in the short run, if I only eat Big Macs, it's bad for my health, and I'm not going to be able to be a good friend. I'm not going to be able to be a good husband. Maybe I'll die prematurely.
Yeah,
Like
you got a heart attack,
exactly.
clogged arteries.
Right. So that's because I don't have the virtue of temperance. There's other things like this where in our moral lives, we might be attracted to things that we know are bad. We might be tempted to lie. We might be tempted to steal. I mean, we might be tempted towards all sorts of things in our lives. And when we choose them, we lose our ability to appreciate virtue, to appreciate things that are actually good for us. So that's why it's important. So that's why it's good. People will recommend take an ice bath, right? It's super cold. It kind of shocks you out of the comfort.
Sure.
That's what's so good about penance in the Catholic Church also. I mean, it brings spiritual graces, but it also transforms us to be able to appreciate things that are actually good for us by taking on things that are harder, right? If I habituate myself to appreciate the pain of running, and I can actually push through it, I might be able to appreciate better also the pain of a friend betraying me, or a girl turning me down, or something like that. So that's the virtue of temperance.
That's deep. Yeah. That's awesome.
So what are some practical ways that young people can practice temperance?
That's a fantastic question. I think what the saints show us is choosing things that are more difficult, choosing things that are harder. So choosing to pray that 15 minutes in the morning or something like that. Choosing even to take on hey, I'm going to not use my phone in my bed, right? That's going to habituate me to be able to do better things. Another thing is fasting, right? This is very classic in the Catholic Church. This is probably the absolute best way of building temperance. Jesus fasted. We know all the saints fasted. It's just abstaining from food and feeling your hunger, right? And your hunger is actually a good response. It's something that you're made to feel hungry. It's something that points you towards something that's good. But by denying yourself, you're able to build basically your muscles, your temperance muscles, to be able to deny yourself in future situations of temptation. So those are just a couple of things. I don't know if you guys have any sort of experience yourself with building up temperance.
Oh man, one thing that comes to mind immediately is my mom always used to just ask me to do the most simple tasks. Take out the trash, whatever it was. And I was like, oh, later, I'll do that later. And, sometimes I would do it later and sometimes I would totally forget. But now I think back to those times that I actually did do it immediately. And those were the moments that were helping me build the virtue. And I felt so much better about myself and my relationship with my mom. And I think I built that virtue better when I actually listened to that. And now that I'm married, I can live out that virtue in a better way, whether it is just taking out the trash or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that simple.
I think all of these things, they're things that you build. So it's if I wanted to be a college basketball player, I wouldn't just decide down the line it's freshman year of college, I'm going to start playing and practicing basketball. It's no, if you want to be good at basketball by the time you're in college, you got to start practicing earlier, right? You want to be able to start playing basketball maybe freshman year of high school or even earlier, and so that you practice so that when it gets to the time to perform, you're able to actually perform. And that's what's so great about your example of your mom saying, hey, you should do this thing. When you respond, you're building that capability down the line when it really matters, right? It might not feel like it matters at the time. It's
even though it does, but
it does matter. But even if it doesn't feel like it, or it feels like the stakes are low, if I don't do it, it's not too bad. You're losing that option then down the line, where if you had done it, you would be capable. You would be able to execute. You'd have the temperance. And then what temperance allows you to do is do all the other virtues, which we'll get into: prudence, justice, and fortitude. That's all from us. Signing off, the Bosco team.
The fabled episodes.